Who is the actors who played a villain so well you still hate them? I actually love it when mostly comedic actors play villains and do it well. I find it way more frightening, because the audience subconsciously remembers their funnier roles, than to see them act deranged and see a side to them. There's almost this bewilderment, like I thought I knew you, and you were a monster the whole time? Robin Williams' performance in 1 Hour Photo was excellent and still creepy AF. Further, when John Lithgow was the main villain in season 4 of Dexter, that's my favorite season of the show, solely from his performance, terrifying monster. Years ago I saw Aaron Eckhart in The Company of Men and came away hating him with the white-hot heat of 1,000 suns. Some years later I watched Erin Brockovich and rushed to the internet afterward to find out who played the hot long-haired guy, and it was Aaron Eckhart. Dude is an underrated actor. And I don't hate him anymore, lol. Pamela Robb as Joan Ferguson in Wentworth. My hatred of that character was visceral, and the things she did often induced a level of rage that was pretty shocking to me in hindsight. I hated Joffrey and Gott, but he had nothing on the freak. If you haven't seen Wentworth, it's like Orange Is the New Black but much darker and way more raw. Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. He played a hitman so convincingly I find it hard to believe in real life he's just a normal guy. He absolutely terrified me. As an honorable mention, Bruno Ganz as Hitler in Downfall. He was mesmerizing and hypnotic. You could feel the evil. Absolutely the best portrayal of Hitler. Anthony Perkins played Norman Bates so well that he legit had trouble finding work after Psycho because he was immediately typecast and pigeonholed. On the one hand it's a shame because he was a legit good-looking dude and clearly talented, but on the other hand, I can't unsee Norman Bates, either. I saw a recent interview from Paul Johansson, who played Dan Scott on One Tree Hill. He talked about how people to this day will hate on him in public and online from the role. He also talked about how his role took a major toll on his mental health and caused him to spend his nights drinking. I cannot forgive Adam Driver for killing Han Solo. I hate your face, Adam. I also completely understand how unreasonable this is, and I don't actually have any malice towards you, Adam. It just hurt my feels, which was exactly what was supposed to happen. Backhand compliment. Robert Patrick as T-1000 in Terminator 2. I saw that movie for the first time when I was young, and any time I saw Robert Patrick pop up in a movie, I immediately hated his character. Still hate him, he usually plays absolute dickheads or racists, so, kinda easy to hate. I get she isn't strictly an antagonist, but Anna Gunn's portrayal of Skylar White. She aced the attitude of irrational collateral of a meth-making husband, to the extent that I very much disliked her character, but was very much impressed by her portrayal. Corporal Upham from Saving Private Ryan. I doubt that I've ever been more mad at a character than when he sat on the stairs and cried while his friends got brutally murdered in the next room. Can't see Davis in anything else without being mad at him. Ronny Cox as the villainous OCP executive in RoboCop. Cox has a particular talent for playing characters with domineering, malevolent personalities. You need someone to play a generic evil rich white dude in your movie? Cox is your guy. Nathan Fillion in Dr. Horrible. I can't even remember the character's name anymore, but he played such a smarmy douche I simply cannot see him any other way. He's apparently been in several really good shows, but I cannot stand his face. Tobias Menzies in Outlander. Truly a gruesome, horrible, easily hateable human being. Such performance. Even better knowing he plays multiple roles in the show, much less Frank, who is such a good character through and through. Charles Dance makes the most terrifying villains. He has incredible charisma and just seems to ooze the role of a smart and competent villain. I dread having that piercing glare of disdain he does so well turned my way. Not really any villain roles I know of, but Richard Gere. Seems like a douche in every role and a douche in real life. Maybe he's a nice guy, I don't know. But for whatever reason I have never been able to stand him. I saw the Tina Turner movie when I was about 8 or 9. Lawrence Fishburne played the unpredictable and violent Ike Turner so well that his movies made me uncomfortable right up to The Matrix. He was good at being bad. William Atherton from Ghostbusters. He played the role so excellently that he became reviled in real life. People kept trying to pick fights with him and was even called dickless by a bus of schoolchildren. Veruca, I don't fully hate her, especially since she has a not so great dad, but it's still satisfying seeing her drop down at shoot when I watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Don't hate him, but Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander in The Boys, terrifies me. He plays the character so well that I forget he's not actually the character when I see him in cast interviews. Any villain played by Paul Dano. Dano is a good dude, but the way he depicts villains makes me want to poke his eyes out. The Riddler, The annoying priest, that dude from 12 Years a Slave. Pablo Schreiber as William Lewis in Law Order SVU. Just seeing his photo creeps me out. When I see him in another role, all I can think about is how scary he was as William Lewis. David Tennant as Kilgrave in Jessica Jones approaches peak villain evil. Super lovable in other roles, including as a demon, smiley face, still hard to cheer for him after Kilgrave. I don't hate him, in fact I admire him, but Wes Studi was so amazing in Last of the Mohicans that I was literally shaking with hate in the last fight scene. Amazing actor. Eric Bana used to be my celebrity crush until he played John Meehan in season 1 of Dirty John. He said in an interview that young women come up to him and punch him now. Katie Sagal as Gemma. I don't hate her, but she was such a vile person in that series, and that is the last I have seen of her, so I am kind of like still in fuck you mode. The guy who played Dr. Smith on the old Lost in Space series. And my dad hated him too, he couldn't help himself. The character was so slimy and so wonderfully played. J.K. Simmons, and I hate that Nazi rapist piece of shit. It's so weird to me that he does insurance commercials too. I'm like, no, don't let him in your house. Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator is the most unsettling character I've ever seen. People say I look like him not about that movie, and it always makes me feel awful. Sir Christopher Lee, may he rest in peace, will never not be Saruman in my head, and I still struggle to remind myself that he wasn't actually the literal worst. Louise Fletcher for Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Kai Wynn Deep Space Nine. I hear Miss Fletcher was actually a lovely, lovely person. Jesse Plemons as Todd. Granted, he's had roles before since that I absolutely adore, but I haven't hated a villain as much as Todd since I was a kid. Don't hate him, but Clancy Brown played the Kurgan in the first Highlander movie with such evil glee. Still one of the best movie villains ever. Samuel Rogen, in the Netflix series Turn. I can't see him in any part now without remembering him in this series and hating him. He was amazing. Matt Damon in The Talented Mr. Ripley. Ugh, he will never not be that character to me. There is no Jason Bourne, that is Tom Ripley in a costume. Stanley Tucci as Mr. Harvey in The Lovely Bones. I see him in The Hunger Games as Caesar Flickerman, and I just feel so sick to my stomach. Wes Studi portrayal of Margwa in Last of the Mohicans was awesome. He wasn't cartoon level evil, just a broken man. Great soundtrack too. I love David Tennant, but I can't look at him the same after he played the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. Stomach-turning performance. Anthony Head is so good at being awful in both Merlin and Ted Lasso that it takes me a full season to like him every Buffy rewatch. Kathy Bates. I was a kid when Misery came out and couldn't watch her in anything until Titanic. I think that was about 10 years. J.K. Simmons as Vern Schillinger in Oz. J.K. Simmons as Terrence Fletcher in Whiplash. J.K. Simmons as a yellow M&M. You heard me. Comet as Gladiator. It took years until I could watch Joaquin Phoenix in anything else and not hate him. He nailed that role. Lionel Barrymore in It's a Wonderful Life. Granted, I haven't watched enough old movies to have seen him in anything else. De Niro did great as White in This Boy's Life, but I still love him. Dwight Yoakam as Doyle Hargraves in Sling Blade. Jamie Bauer in Stranger Things. His monologue from where he went from friendly and kind to evil and twisted was amazing. Chris Meloni for a role in NYPD, at least up until I saw him in Happy 20 Years, was a pretty good stretch. Paul Reiser in Millions. He said in an interview once that after his mother saw that movie, she was angry at him. Love the actress. But wow, Louise Fletcher made Kai Wynn so hateable. That was an incredible performance. My mom can't shake this about Bradley Cooper in Wedding Crashers. Reader, she has never liked the man role. Ron Perlman playing Clay Morrow in Sons of Anarchy. He made me hate that character with a burning passion. Tom Berenger as Jim Vance in Hatfields and McCoys. I still get mad thinking about it. R.I.P. Bill Paxton. Jacob Elordi as Nate Jacobs. I'm fully aware that guy's not like that hero, but his acting is phenomenal. Jared Padalecki as Dean in Gilmore Girls. Not widely seen as a villain, but he was one and I hate him. Whoever played the bald dude in Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I never hated one person so damn much. Willem Dafoe came across as so very evil and wild at heart. But I don't hate him, he's a great actor. Jason Alexander as Phil Stuckey in Pretty Woman. He made me never watch or like the show Seinfeld. I had to remind myself that I don't hate Reese Witherspoon while watching Little Fires Everywhere. Imelda Staunton as Dolores Umbridge in Order of the Phoenix. She was way too good being that evil. Why Johnny Ringo, you look like someone just stepped on your grave. Michael Biehn in Tombstone. Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl. Crazy bitch deserves an Oscar after all she did to Ben Affleck. The White Knight guy in Die Hard. Hans Gruber was also great, but no one hates Alan Rickman. Janice Soprano. Every time I see Aida Turturro I think, well, look who it is, this bitch. Lee Pace Ronan the Accuser in Thranduil, not exactly a villain, but dang he was gorgeous. Rob Lowe after Wayne's World. If he was an ice cream flavor, he'd be Pralines and Dick. How come we haven't mentioned Javier Bardem for playing Chigger in No Country for Old Men? Richard Ritchie April is portrayed by David Proval on the HBO TV series The Sopranos. Jack Gleason as Joffrey Baratheon on Game of was amazingly hateable. Alan Rickman in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. I'll cut your heart out with a spoon. Alan cheating on his wife in Love Actually. I'll never forgive him. J.K. Simmons was so scary in Oz that Farmers Insurance commercials weird me out. Samuel L. Jackson as Steven in Django Unchained. I didn't even know it was him. Lol. That fucking bitch who played Dolores Umbridge, Imelda Staunton, in Harry Potter. I don't hate him, but Mads Mikkelsen is the best villain ever. Brilliant actor. I was always creeped out by Kevin Spacey, and it turns out I had good reason. Javier Bardem, but I also still find him sexy. It's really uncomfortable. Eric Roberts in Stargate. I couldn't watch him in anything for many years. Edward Norton in The Italian Job. I just can't see him as anyone else. Javier Bardem. Doesn't matter which villain, this man does a good one. Anthony Starr as Homelander is brilliant. I love to hate that character. Tim Roth and Rob Roy. Great film, he should've won the Oscar for that. The dude who played Percy Whitmore in The Green Mile. Fuck that guy. Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner and What's Love Got to Do with It? Professor Umbridge Pink Harry Potter teacher in the fifth movie.